During the downtime after the 4th Ninja War of Naruto, the ninja world, as we all would know, would undergo several drastic changes. The era following the 4th Ninja War was one that saw change after change, particularly with Kakashi as Hokage, leading the charge to both demilitarize the 5 nations and put science at the forefront, particularly making Hashirama cells available to private companies to see if medical advancements could be made. Yet this era itself was more than just about tech advancements, more than just the 5 nations building on their treaty after the Ninja War, and a couple of hiccups like Tsunade trying to destroy the earth and Kunoichi attacking Konoha and other small villages. But a lot of that material sadly was not adapted into the Naruto Shippuden anime, which is why in today's newest installment of After Naruto Shippuden, we are going to be taking an in-depth look at one of those instances where Kakashi's life was forever changed by a major incident that proves the saying that Kakashi made famous in Naruto about getting lost on the path of life to be absolutely true, because you never know what life will bring to you when you least expect it. And in this instance, it's in a lot of ways that Kakashi never saw coming. For those of you guys who are new, After Naruto Shippuden is a series on the channel where we take a look at the story events and lore that occur in the Naruto timeline between Naruto chapter 699 and the start of the Boruto era, which officially starts in Naruto chapter 700, which much of that content, it was never adapted into the Naruto Shippuden anime, hence the title After Naruto Shippuden. The information for this video is going to be coming to us from one of those stories that Naruto Shippuden didn't animate, which is the Kakashi Hiden story, Lightning in the Frozen Sky. This story takes place in the months following the end of the 4th Ninja War, and then jumps ahead in the time by 1 year after the war, where Naruto has already gotten his Hashirama Cell arm, but is having trouble using it properly to do things such as eat ramen. In the scene we're going to be going over, it takes place after the start of the story, where Naruto Uzumaki has been dispatched as part of a 2-man team with Sai on an S-rank mission that lasted for several months, where the two of them went around the continent hunting down a growing number of shinobi who got the opportunity to experience the Infinite Tsukuyomi Dream World, live in that world without winners and losers, and see their own personalized utopia. And when they were brought out of the Genjutsu following Naruto and Sasuke making the rat hand seal simultaneously, there were those who came out of that perfect dream and they couldn't handle the sight of reality before them. Upon Naruto completing this mission in the Land of Waves and sharing his concerns about the Land of Fire's rapid advancement in technology, Kakashi finds himself being confronted by Tsunade in a rather tense conversation. Despite there being people in the village supporting Naruto to become Hokage, Tsunade points out that an 18-year-old kid who still pulls pranks and complains about the extra work that he has to do, like teaching at the academy occasionally, meeting with VIPs and feudal lords, isn't someone ready for the Hokage position despite how strong he's gotten. And Tsunade presses Kakashi for why he hasn't formally taken the Hokage position via inauguration ceremony, the same way we saw Minato and Tsunade undertake, despite Kakashi at this point in the timeline already having his face on the Hokage monument and using the title of Hokage to do things like get Sasuke released from prison, as well as other things that Kakashi is able to do with the Hokage position. When Kakashi reveals his worry that he isn't strong enough to be Hokage because he doesn't have the Sharingan anymore, and he even worries that he can't live up to the promise that he made to Obito to be the 6th Hokage until Naruto was ready to be the 7th Hokage, Tsunade shuts down all his worries by telling him that he's more than qualified for the position and that he needs to stop doubting himself before she sends him off on a mission back in the Land of Waves, this time with the accompaniment of Might Guy himself, who specifically requested this to be his last mission as a shinobi. The mission in question deals with the airship, the Tobisachimaru, that scared Naruto when Inari told him how it would operate, how it would fly, and about the impact that it would have on the economy of the Land of Waves, both positively and negatively. Positive in that it bring in a lot of money to their small country, but negatively in that many of the people who operate transport services at the docks would be out of work due to not being able to compete with the services of an airship, which this right here is a precursor to the events of the Boruto Funato clan arc, because the conflict is the exact same. Kakashi has to the Land of Waves to oversee the launch of this new airship, and along the way he bumps into Tazuna, and it's at this moment that Kakashi's life is forever changed by the introduction of a new kunoichi that would change Kakashi's worldview. With the scene in the context finally being set, it's here I'm going to begin reading the selected scenes from the story itself, and then I'm going to come back to you guys my thoughts, and it's here I'm going to begin quoting. But Konoha has been informed about it, Kakashi asked. Well, there was no way around it. All smiles at that point. Tazuna's face clouded over. All fine and good for Goro to have been sent to Hozuki Castle, but his followers have infiltrated every level of society, Tazuna said. That's why we have Jonin from Konoha concealed in the ship, Kakashi said. We're really counting on you, Tazuna replied. Tazuna's eyes narrowed with emotion. They looked over the people, laughing and chatting in their finery, streaming towards the Tobisachimaru. The playing of the drum band grew noticeably louder. Kakashi heard hurried footsteps behind them, just as the last guest stepped onto the ramp and the photo session was commencing. Wait, a woman holding up the hem of a long blue dress came running at top speed. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. I'm getting on the ship as well, she shouted. Clutched in the hand she was waving wildly above her head was an invitation. Just as she was about to run past Kakashi, the woman tripped and pitched forward. She cried in a small voice as her body was thrown into the air. Reflexively, Kakashi caught her. In the confusion, their eyes met. Flowing curly hair, slightly parted lips, large moist eyes open wide in surprise. Time stopped for a moment, and the world to Kakashi was this woman and nothing else. The woman in the long dress fell into Kakashi's arms, her soft hair tickling the end of his nose as she raised her head. Are you alright? Kakashi asked. Oh, excuse me, the woman said, hurriedly pulling herself up and avoiding his eyes. I was in a bit of hurry. Thank you so much for saving me in a moment of danger. Kakashi nodded and she continued to avoid his eye contact, embarrassed. She then lifted the hem of her dress and once more charged toward the Tobisachimaru. End quote. Now, I wanted to end that quote right there to say, if you heard all that information, you thought to yourself, wait a second, I've seen way too many anime. This woman is a shinobi, then you're absolutely right. And it goes back to what Kakashi told Team 7 in Naruto during the bell test. A shinobi must learn to see past deception. However, there's more to being a shinobi than fancy ninjutsu. What we're seeing here is exactly what Sakura and Ino were taught in the academy during the flashback we saw when they fought in the Chunin exams, where the academy teacher that held that class just for the girls at the academy was stressing to them that as kunoichi, it would be their job to use their feminine charms and their feminine gifts to do things on missions that their male counterparts could not do. And that's exactly what happened here. The moment that Kakashi noticed how fast this woman, who was wearing a really long dress and really high heels, was running on top of sand, to keep it in mind for you, which I don't know if any of you guys have ever trained on sand before, but running on sand is super hard because of the stress it puts on your feet and on your calves and on your legs. Yet this woman, who should be a normal civilian with no ninja training, is shown running at speeds fast enough that Kakashi took note of it, and the moment she realized it, that he had caught onto her, the woman suddenly falls over into Kakashi's arms, locks eyes with him, looks deep into his eyes, parts her lips, a sign of attraction, and she seduces him right there on the spot without saying a word before playing up the damsel in distress role. And for what it's worth, she is pretty damn attractive, enough to the point that Tazuna jokes with Kakashi that he isn't getting any younger, and that woman, someone that beautiful, doesn't just come into your life often, showing that level of open attraction to you, with Tazuna saying that when life gives you an opportunity like that, you take it and you don't delay, something that Kakashi is doing with this Hokage ceremony. However, it's because of that line that Kakashi suddenly notices that the woman he just saw managed to somehow close that considerable distance to the airship in the span of a conversation with Tazuna, and he's lost complete track of her, which, if you're wondering why this is the case, this is the very same woman who is that ice release user who lost her son, and she blamed Konoha for it, specifically Tsunade, and she battled Naruto, almost catching base Naruto with her ice release jutsu during their battle before Naruto retreated with the leader of that Madara cult that she was supporting, because Naruto's mission was to capture Goro and take him to Hozuki Castle, not to battle this woman. This same woman is now on this airship that Kakashi has been charged with protecting, but before Kakashi could give more thought to this woman who had clearly captured his heart, and as we'll see in the future, plays a major role in Kakashi's decision-making process as a Hokage leading the ninja world, into focusing more so on supporting civilians instead of pouring resources into the military, largely because of what happens when he learns about this woman's story. Before these two people who are connected by the red string of fate could ever meet again, a shinobi appears to engage Kakashi in combat, which is where I'll leave this video off. But in the meantime, click here to watch that video of Naruto versus the woman Kakashi just met, or click here for my Jujutsu Kaisen 255 review.